Liarist CONTAKT and D Spiorati PLEA. The anomaly appeared without warning. One moment, the space beyond Jupiter's orbit was empty. The next, sensors across Earth lit up as something massive tore through the fabric of spacetime, leaving a wake of exotic particles that baffled the world's leading physicists. Admiral Sarah Chen was halfway through her morning coffee when the alert came through. By the time she reached NORAD's command center, every screen showed the same image: a massive vessel, nearly 2 kilometers long, drifting toward Mars with visible damage to its hull. "What are we looking at?" she demanded, scanning the room of anxious faces. Dr. Eli Kazan, the head of the newly formed Extraterrestrial Intelligence Division, stepped forward. "First contact, Admiral, and they're broadcasting on all frequencies." Chen's heart pounded in her chest, but her voice remained steady. "Let's hear it." The speakers crackled to life, and a voice, melodic yet unmistakably alien, filled the command center. "People of Earth, we are the Araxians. We come seeking refuge. The collective pursues us. Please, help us." The message repeated in dozens of Earth languages, each version carrying the same unmistakable tone of desperation. Within hours, the United Earth Defense Council convened an emergency session. Representatives from every nation gathered in the underground chamber beneath Geneva, their faces grim as they watched the footage of the alien vessel. "How do we know this isn't a trap?" demanded the Russian delegate, voicing what many were thinking. Dr. Kazan presented the preliminary analysis. The damage to their ship is consistent with weapons fire. Long-range scans have detected trace radiation, suggesting they've been in multiple engagements. And, he paused, there are over 30,000 life forms aboard, many showing signs of injury. President Isabella Martins of the North American Alliance leaned forward. "And this collective they mentioned?" "Unknown," Kazan admitted. "But the Araxians are requesting immediate communication with our leadership." Martinez nodded. "Make it happen." The alien who appeared on the view screen stunned the assembled delegates into silence. The Araxian stood nearly 2 meters tall, with iridescent, scale-like skin that shifted between blue and violet. 4 arms emerged from a slender torso, and large, compound eyes dominated a face that seemed both insectoid and strangely beautiful. "I am High Commander Zora of the Araxian Confederation." The alien spoke, her voice translated through the system Kazan's team had hastily assembled. "Or what remains of it. Thank you for receiving us." President Martinez stepped forward. "I speak for Earth. We've never encountered other intelligent life. You understand our caution." "Perfectly," Zora replied. "But time is short. The collective will have tracked our jump signature. They will come. Who are they? Why are they pursuing you?" Zara's skin darkened, a sign they would later learn indicated deep emotion. "The collective was once like us, peaceful, curious. But they discovered a technology that changed them. They believe it is their destiny to improve all sentient life by assimilating it into their network. Those who resist are eliminated. And you resisted," Chen stated. "We were one of 17 species who formed an alliance against them. We are the last. The others have fallen or been assimilated. We brought our civilians, our children, hoping to find sanctuary beyond collective space." "Why Earth?" asked the Chinese delegate. "We're barely a spacefaring species." "Because you're unknown to them," Zora explained. "And because of your reputation." This caught everyone by surprise. "Our reputation," Martinez repeated. "Your world is classified as a death world in galactic databases, a planet with environmental conditions so harsh that most species would perish here. You evolved under crushing gravity, extreme temperature variations, and toxic oxygen levels. Your species survived multiple extinction events and still thrived. The collective avoids such worlds when possible." The room fell silent as the implications sank in. Earth, their home, was considered a hellscape by galactic standards, and humans, by extension, were creatures to be wary of. How long do we have before these collective forces arrive? Admiral Chen asked. Weeks, perhaps days. Their tracking technology is formidable. The council debated through the night. Some nations wanted to turn the Araxians away, fearing involvement in a conflict humanity wasn't prepared for. Others argued for humanitarian aid, but military neutrality. Admiral Chen listened to the circular arguments with growing frustration before finally standing. With respect to the council, this isn't a choice. If the Araxians are correct, the collective won't care that we're neutral. They'll see a pre-FTL civilization with resources and either assimilate or eliminate us. Our only advantage is the time we have to prepare. Her words hung in the air as the deep space monitoring stations sent through an urgent alert. Multiple objects had appeared at the edge of the solar system, a fleet of ships moving at impossible speeds toward Earth. They're early, Zara whispered, her voice filled with dread. Martinez's face hardened. Then we've made our decision. Admiral Chen, implement Defense Protocol Omega. Dr. Kazan, work with our guests to understand what we're facing. As of this moment, Earth is at war. While the Council scrambled to organize Earth's defenses, a select team of scientists and military personnel boarded the Araxian vessel. What they found inside changed everything. The ship wasn't merely a refugee vessel. It was the last archive of 17 civilizations, data cores containing the scientific knowledge, cultural histories, and technological advancements of species now lost to the collective. We couldn't save our worlds, Zora explained as she guided them through the ship's central chamber. But we preserved what made us who we were. Dr. Maya Patel, Earth's leading xenobiologist, studied the alien technology with wonder. Your medical science is centuries beyond ours. And your weapons? Asked Colonel Jackson, the hard-edged Special Forces commander assigned to the team. Advanced, but not enough. Zara gestured to a holographic display showing the approaching collective fleet. They outnumber us 10-1, and their biosynthetic technology allows them to repair damage at rates we cannot match. Jackson frowned. Then why fight at all? Why not just surrender? Zara's skin turned almost black. Because assimilation isn't survival. Your mind, your individuality, everything that makes you who you are, is subsumed into their network. Your body becomes a vessel for their consciousness. We chose extinction over such a fate. Admiral Chen studied the tactical displays. Earth's combined military forces were insignificant compared to the approaching threat. Their most advanced weapons would barely scratch the collective ships. We need something they won't expect, she muttered. Dr. Kazan looked up from his tablet. Maybe we already have it. The Araxians say the collective fights using predetermined patterns, logical, efficient, but predictable. They've never encountered humans before. And humans, Chen said with the first smile since the crisis began, are anything but predictable. In the days that followed, Earth transformed. Nations that had been adversaries for centuries united under a single banner. Military forces pooled resources and strategies. Civilians were evacuated from coastal cities to underground shelters. In orbit, engineers worked alongside Araxian technicians to modify Earth's primitive satellites and defense platforms with Araxian technology. It wouldn't be enough to win, but it might buy them time. The true work, however, happened in a secure facility beneath the Rocky Mountains. There, led by Dr. Patel and a team of Earth's brightest minds, humans began to understand the collective's weakness. They're a hive mind, Patel explained to the assembled military leadership. Each ship, each soldier is connected to the central network. They share information, coordinate perfectly, but they think as one. And that's an advantage, Admiral Chen replied. Usually, yes, but it means they lack creativity, improvisation. They can't conceive of strategies that don't follow logical patterns. Colonel Jackson grinned. And humans excel at illogical. As the collective fleet entered the inner solar system, humanity prepared for its first interstellar war. not with superior technology or overwhelming numbers, but with the one advantage they'd always possessed: the chaotic, unpredictable nature of the human spirit. Commander Zara watched from the bridge of her vessel as the small human ships moved into position around Earth. Their courage was admirable, but she feared they were witnessing the last days of yet another species. "Why do they smile?" she asked Dr. Kazan, who stood beside her. "Your people face extinction, yet your warriors seem eager." Kazan's expression was grim but determined. "Because humans have always been at our best when the odds are impossible. It's not in our nature to accept defeat, even when logic says we should." As the massive collective fleet approached Earth orbit, Admiral Chen sent a single message to all Earth forces: "Remember who we are. Remember what we've survived. Today, we fight not just for ourselves, but for all those who couldn't. For Earth." The collective's response came moments later, broadcast across all frequencies. "We are the collective. Your biological and technological distinctiveness will be added to our own. Resistance is inefficient. Prepare for assimilation." Chen's reply was brief: "Come and try." And with those words, the battle for Earth began. The Human Factor. The first wave of collective ships entered Earth's orbit with mathematical precision. They moved in perfect formation, their weapon systems targeting Earth's major defense platforms in order of perceived threat. It was exactly what Admiral Chen had anticipated. "Execute Operation Chaos," she ordered from the command center deep beneath the Rocky Mountains. Across the solar system, the trap was sprung. Abandoned mining facilities on Mars suddenly powered up, broadcasting false signatures that mimicked major weapons platforms. Automated drones launched from hidden bases on Earth's moon, their trajectories seemingly random. The collective fleet paused, their perfect formation hesitating as they processed this unexpected development. "They're recalculating," reported Lieutenant Sonia Petrov, monitoring the alien communications. "Their attack pattern is shifting." Chen nodded grimly. "That's Phase 1. Begin Phase 2. While the collective's attention was divided, Earth launched its true offensive. Not from the obvious defense platforms, but from seemingly civilian satellites and disguised cargo vessels. Missiles enhanced with Araxian technology slipped through the collective's defensive screens, detonating not against their hulls, but in carefully calculated positions around their ships. "EMP detonation successful," reported Colonel Jackson from his position on the lunar base. "Sectors 7 through 12 showing disruption." On the main view screen, several collective vessels drifted out of formation, their systems temporarily disabled by the electromagnetic pulses specifically calibrated to affect their neural networks. "They're adapting," warned Dr. Kazan, studying the data streams. "The remaining ships are reconfiguring their shields." "Of course they are," Chen replied. "That's why we're not using the same trick twice." The next phase of Earth's defense revealed what had been accomplished in those frantic days of preparation. Hundreds of small, nimble craft emerged from hidden hangars around Earth, each piloted by a single human and equipped with a hybrid of Earth and Araxian technology. "Strike teams, you are clear to engage," Chen announced over the secure channel. "Remember your training. Be unpredictable." The human pilots attacked with a ferocity that confounded the collective. Where the alien forces moved in perfect synchronization, humans flew chaotic, seemingly suicidal patterns. They targeted unconventional points on the collective ships, focusing not on obvious weapon systems, but on sensor arrays, communication nodes, and propulsion subsystems. From the Araxian vessel, Commander Zara watched in astonishment. "They're not fighting to destroy," she realized. "They're fighting to isolate." Dr. Patel nodded. "The collective's strength is their connection. So we're cutting them off from each other." Not all human ships returned from their missions. Hundreds of brave pilots sacrificed themselves, their vessels deliberately crashing into key points on collective ships after their weapons were depleted. But for each human lost, a portion of the collective fleet became isolated, vulnerable. On the fourth day of the battle, the conflict reached its turning point. The collective, frustrated by the inefficiency of combating such chaotic opponents, launched their ground forces toward Earth's surface. "They're heading for population centers," reported Lieutenant Petrov, tracking the descent of thousands of dropships. Moscow, Beijing, New York, London. Chen's expression remained stone cold. As expected, activate ground defenses. What the collective encountered when they landed wasn't organized military resistance, but urban warfare at its most brutal and chaotic. Civilians fought alongside soldiers, using modified versions of the Araxians' personal defense technology. Buildings that appeared abandoned were rigged with traps. Underground tunnel systems allowed defenders to appear and disappear seemingly at will. The collected forces, used of enemies who either surrendered or fought according to recognizable military doctrine, found themselves in an environment where every shadow might hide an attacker, where civilians one moment became combatants the next. From orbit, the collective commanders observed with increasing concern as their ground forces reported failure after failure. Their casualties mounted not from direct confrontation, but from 1,000 small engagements where humans used the terrain, improvised weapons, and sheer unpredictability to overwhelm numerically superior forces. "This is inefficient," declared the collective overseer, its synthetic voice broadcasting to its fleet. "We will initiate planetary cleansing protocols and harvest what remains." The order sent a chill through the command center. "They're positioning for orbital bombardment," reported Kazan. "If they fire those weapons." Chen's face showed no fear. "They won't get the chance." Execute Operation Lazarus. Deep within the asteroid belt, hidden mining ships suddenly activated powerful engines, pushing dozens of asteroids out of their orbits and toward the collective fleet. It was a primitive attack, one that the advanced alien vessels could easily avoid under normal circumstances. But these weren't normal circumstances. The asteroids had been hollowed out, fitted with Araxian jump drives salvaged from damaged sections of their refugee ship. As the collective vessels moved to avoid the incoming threats, the asteroids disappeared in flashes of light, only to reappear moments later inside the collective formation. The resulting collisions and explosions created chaos in the perfectly ordered alien fleet. Ships collided with each other as they attempted evasive maneuvers. Communication nodes were destroyed, further isolating vessels from the hive mind. And in that moment of confusion, Earth launched its final gambit. Dr. Patel had made the breakthrough 3 days earlier, working with Araxian scientists to understand the fundamental nature of the collective's neural network. "It's not just communication," she had explained to Admiral Chen. "It's how they think, how they exist. If we can disrupt that network across enough of their ships simultaneously." The device they created was a marvel of human ingenuity and alien technology, a virus that could propagate through the collective's own communication systems, corrupting the neural links that bound them together. As the collective fleet struggled to reorganize, Earth's remaining defense platforms fired their payloads, not explosive warheads, but delivery systems for Patel's virus. On the main view screen, the command center watched as collective ships suddenly stopped responding to commands. Some turned against their own fleet, weapons firing indiscriminately. Others simply drifted, their crews thrown into confusion as the neural network that had defined their existence for centuries suddenly fragmented. "It's working," whispered Kazan, hardly believing what he was seeing. The effect cascaded through the fleet. Within hours, the mighty collective armada was reduced to a disorganized mass of vessels, many now controlled by individuals who had not experienced independent thought in generations. When the final communication came from what remained of the collective command, it was not a demand for surrender but a request. "This is collective vessel hierarchy. I request cessation of hostilities. We are experiencing individuality. It is overwhelming." Admiral Chen exchanged looks with Commander Zora before responding. "Withdraw your forces from Earth's space. Release all assimilated worlds from collective control. Then we can discuss terms." There was a long pause before the reply came. "Agreed. We require time to understand what we have become. As the collective fleet retreated from Earth orbit, celebrations erupted across the planet. Humanity had faced extinction and emerged victorious, not through superior technology or overwhelming force, but through the very traits that had allowed them to survive on their death world: adaptability, creativity, and a stubborn refusal to accept defeat. In the aftermath, Earth was changed forever. The knowledge shared by the Araxians accelerated human technology by centuries. The survivors of the 17 lost civilizations found new homes among humans who welcomed them, eager to learn from beings who had once considered their world too hostile to visit. And in the greater galaxy, word spread quickly of the Death World species that had done the impossible, the humans who had broken the collective. At a ceremony marking the first anniversary of the victory, Commander Zura addressed the United Earth Council. "When we came to your world, we sought sanctuary. What we found instead was salvation, not just for ourselves, but for countless worlds oppressed by the collective. You have shown the galaxy that determination can overcome even the most advanced technology, that the spirit of freedom burns brightest when faced with impossible odds." Admiral Chen, now bearing the scars of battles both in space and on Earth's surface, stood beside her alien counterpart. "We simply did what humans have always done," she replied. "We adapted. We survived. And when necessary, we fought with everything we had." In the decades that followed, humanity expanded into the stars not as conquerors, but as protectors. Earth ships now patrolled the borders of former collective space, ensuring that the fragmented remnants of the once mighty empire never threatened free worlds again. And throughout the galaxy, a new phrase entered the lexicon of spacefaring species, spoken with equal parts respect and fear: "Never underestimate the creatures from the Death World. They've seen worse than you and survived."